Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's wee Paddy from across the shuck, and you're very welcome back to the channel. And this is my Sunday therapy. And today my therapy is going to be a little bit more specific, but I thought I would get lots of knives out anyway, because that's what I like doing. And I've got a nice different price range of knives, none that are over expensive. Well, that's a lie. That's a bit over expensive, and not over expensive, but expensive. And that. But I wanted to compare and just have a thought on the Rosecraft loosahatchie. Can never get these blooming names right. The loosahatchie, that's it. Loosahatchie, yes. So, you know what I'm talking about. It is this knife here. And what a glorious, glorious looking little knife this is. This is about 60 odd pound here in the UK. And to be honest with you, I mean, I've had this before on the channel and you've had looks around it. But I mean, as usual with Rosecraft, the fit and finish on this little knife for 60 odd pounds is outstanding. Look at that beautiful blade with a swedge, a lovely deep. I really love this deep blade on it. It just is lovely. The long pull I like, and the deep swedge on the top, and it's on both sides. I just think is beautiful. I love the stamped blade. We've talked about that. I love the fact they've got a stamped blade. And now on the other side it is etched, but I'm quite happy to, because it blends into it. It doesn't really stick out, but it lets you see that it's an Andy Armstrong design. It's an old pattern just reinvented by Andy, and that's what everybody who makes a Barlow now is reinventing what they think it looks like. This particular example is fantastic to me because I love the broader blade on this. The other good thing about this, it's D2 steel that's well heat treated. So it's a super, super work knife. I mean, this is the sort of knife that does me all day long. It holds its edge really well. It's just stunningly good looking. It feels solid in the hand, and I can get a full 4-finger grip with a large hand. The lovely swollen end on this one. This is thicker than most American base knives. So we got an American. Oh, here we are. There's a case, and there we put. I didn't have a wooden case. This is in stag, but you can see that this is thinner stock at the bottom here than the loosahatchie, and also the British Barlows. So, what is the complaint about the loosahatchie? It's made in China in a traditional style with modern machinery. Absolutely fine. Absolutely doesn't bother me in the slightest. Exactly the same as this knife, which is a Rough Rider Reserve. Another really nice Barlow. Love the fat swedge on it. Super knife. Really nice knife. Now, they call this a jackknife. I call it a Barlow because that's my want. And I'll show you why I do later on. You've probably heard me going on about it before. But it's a jackknife or a Barlow, whichever you want to call it. I just choose to call it a Barlow. The wood on this is sandalwood. And this is the red. There's two versions of it. It comes in a red sandalwood and it comes in a yellow sandalwood. Now, as it happens, my yellow sandalwood was darker than my red. So and that's wood. You can get so many different variations. Now, I haven't got that one here with me today. Justin has that one. I gave that to him because he's on my channel. He likes to review it, and he brings it out and loves the knife just every bit as much as I do. But they're essentially the same knives, just different handle scales. And I just love, look at the chatoyance on that wood. Is that not just beautiful? It is absolutely stunning. I love it. And to get this for £60, or just over £60, I believe it is just unbelievable. The quality you're getting is fantastic. And I sort of want to talk about this in relation to all these Barlows I got down and what I think about how it sits against them. Because I'm going to start up here. This is just a small Barlow though, so don't take that against it. We'll have no sizist comments in this. This is in snakewood, This side's a bit better. Oh, there you can see that. Once it gets into the light, you can see it. There you go. This is in snakewood. This is a GEC model. One of my favorite little small GECs. Absolutely. It's a 3-finger knife, but very, very secure in the hand. Lovely, lovely blade. Good solid lockup. 1095. So what would be the difference in this? The build quality is excellent on this. Excellent. It's got brass liners. A lot of people like the brass liners. I do as well, to be honest with you. But, you know, it would never be a game changer because it's just not something that would, you know, I love it. And with the darker wood, I think the brass looks nice. The brass liners makes it stand out. Is it harder to do? No, because these have got liners too. They just happen to be, you know, stainless. I think they're completely no, these are just stainless steel. But a fantastic knife. The fit and finish on both of them is exemplary. It's really, really good on both of them. The opening and closing one, they've good strong pulls. I'll let you hear this one and then listen to that walk and talk. Beautiful. Firm, solid, nothing mushy about it. It is completely in both directions. It is just beautiful. It's about a 6-ish pull, which is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. This is the GEC. I'll let you hear it. Not quite as solid, but this is not mushy either at all. It's very, 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 very nice in use. Very nice in use. Can you tell the difference between this and a GEC? I think so. My opinion is yes, I think so. This to me looks classic, if you like, with the different bolster. You've got the ring bolster, 3-ring bolster. You've got the brass liners. This is more classic looking. Very, very well made. Very well made, this one. Perfect. And then I'm going to take it down and let's have a look at another one. And you've heard how crisp this is. So this is a Taylor's Eyewitness. This is their basic model. That snap. Bit mushier. Bit mushy there. Not as good. Not as good as that. But this is a 40-pound knife. The wood on it is just a hardwood. You can see that it's not of a great standard. This is a special one because my mate put bone in there when I bought it off him. He put bone in it and it's got the fancy back. But I mean, this is a 40-pound knife and this is a 60-pound knife. We're just talking roughly here in prices, so don't hold me to them. About a 40-pound. This one's got the work back on it. Really nice knife, but not up to the quality of a Rosecraft, to be honest with you. Just not, as you know, and this is 1095, I didn't say. This is just a stainless steel on this one. This one will outdo it as far as work goes and longevity of the blade, definitely with the D2. It'll outdo both of them. But again, for me, I have to talk about the blade steel because that's what's in it. But it doesn't really matter to me because it can sharpen. But it is nice to have this. If I want to do, you know, a bit of rough work, a bit of, you know, going through wood and whatever, rather than use something in 1095, which is a great tough steel, but for longevity, I would go for the D2, to be honest. Not as tough as a 1095, but it's a nice tool steel. So I just think that's super. The next one we're going to talk about is an Arthur Wright. This is a bit of an older Arthur Wright with a beautiful rosewood. This is a lovely colour for rosewood. This is one of my favourite little knives. Now, I was telling, well, we'll come back to that. Right, we'll just show you. Fit and finish on this is really good. There's not gaps in it, but it sort of sits up a little bit there. But in all, this is another 40-pound knife. This one's in C70, carbon steel, and it's, you know, it's a fantastic little knife. It is just a beautiful knife, and it opens and closes every bit. Listen, in fact, this is a stronger back spring. Really is a stronger back spring. There's no half stop. It's just straight through, but it is perfect. a real solid knife. I mean, that's about an 8 opening and closing. You know, it's right up there. This again is about a 6. And these are all very subjective because everybody's pool is different. So don't read too much into them. For me, 6 and up is nice. And I can go up as far as 9 and be very, very happy. And I have got knives that are that strong. This is a tailor's eyewitness. This is another expensive knife to buy. Nice close on it. Oh, nice open. But the open's a bit of a wobble on it there. Opens up not as sharp as the others. For a very expensive knife, that's a very poor opening. It doesn't give me any great... Look, it's a perfect knife. And a lot of the British Barlows have this choil here where you can get your finger up there and it's safe as houses when you're using it. So that's not a problem. As far as the fit and finish goes, it's right up the centre. This is in desert ironwood, which has some of the most beautiful figuration in that wood. It's beautiful. It's very hard to see in this light. I haven't got natural light where you would see it normally, but take my word for it, this is a beautiful knife. Has file work on the back of it, but I mean, these are up around the £150 mark, maybe a bit more. It's an expensive knife. I love the shape of the handle. The bulbous end really gets to me. I do like this blade, and I want to put this blade beside this because I think it's probably one of the closest in shape and size. You can see that. Now, this is a bit fatter again. This has a nicer, I think, a nicer clip point on it, to be honest with you. This is very straight. This has got it sort of swoops and makes it look really, really gorgeous. I do love this one. I do like it a lot. This looks, again, more basic. This is a high polish finish, but you're paying an awful lot more money for this than you are for this little Rosecraft. It's a lot thinner here on this one as it in the Rosecraft, which makes this a real working knife. This is beautiful, a gentleman's carry. This to me is beautiful, but it's also ready for hard work. And you know, it's a knife you'd want to use for hard work, and you're not going to have any worries if you get scratches or anything on it because it's in that price range, £60, which is not cheap, but it is cheaper than using one of you know, if you have this as an alternative. You wouldn't use this so much if you had this beautiful snap walk and talk and that. Now, I'm going to leave this one to the end. This is a case. Did we talk about that? It's very sort of lackluster in the walk and talk, for want of a better word. It's perfectly fine. We've got this little protuberance here, and we can get our finger behind there, and it's absolutely safe. But it's a very sort of weak knife, and it's, you know, it's a beautiful knife. Stag, this one. It took me ages to find this, and it's a beautiful knife, but the walk and talk is not as good. And these knives, this is probably going to be slightly dearer, the Stag, than the £60. You know, I'm sure it will be, you know, a bit dearer. It's a bit smaller. The fit and finish to the Stag and the back spring is excellent. This is a 2-blade, but look at that back spring, tight as you like, super blade. Now, if you want to ask me what is better, Rosecraft or case, in this instance, I think the case is a tighter, I don't know, it's just beautifully well done. I think it's a gorgeous knife. Is this far behind it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It really isn't far behind it. At all. In fact, you know, there's coming a time where these are, especially with the standard of fit and finish these have, the case, a lot of case knives do come with bad fit and finish, and that's just a fact. It has been a trend, which, you know, even the case, you know, collectors, I mean, I've got about 20 cases, so it's not as if I haven't got a few. I love them, but this standard of quality is definitely catching up with them. But again, the little bits that stand out for me is the little brass liners. I just think the brass liners do add that little bit, which, do these need to have them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because this is in the price range where this is absolutely adequate. And, it's a lovely, clean look. I do like it. It's just a bit different than the older traditional knives, but this is not trying to be an older traditional. It's a modern traditional, designed by a very modern man who's very much in the knife game at the minute. And I mean, I love the shield on this. It's just so smooth. It's just beautifully done. And the last, no, not the last. Yes, we've seen the Rough Rider Reserve. Its walk and talk is pretty good. Bit mushy at the end, not as tight. It doesn't give me that. But I mean, this knife is at least as dear as this. And this one is in all, no, it's got brass liners in it. These two are the same price. And for me, in my opinion, I'll take this every day. Now, this is D2 as well. And I love this. And I use this one quite a lot. I do love it. It's in my Carta. But just go on stand, face to face. I just do like the Rosecraft better. It feels a solid, more usable knife to me. And your opinion might be different, and that's okay. Now, I'm going to put it against my favourite wooden Ashley Harrison, and this is his Barlow. This is the newest iteration of the Barlow, where he's using a big bolster. Now, look at this blades. You can see that this one has the fatter blade stock than the previous ones. I think its design of that blade is absolutely beautiful. As much as this is nice, this just, in my opinion, blows away. The finish on it is nicer. The bolster is absolutely beautiful with a stamp on it. Everything's stamped on here. There's no etching. That is also a stamp in the... No, there's nothing on the back of that. That's just the blades rubbing. But fit and finish on this is just outstanding. Beautiful back spring, but these are about roughly £150. It depends what materials you have. It goes up and down just a little bit, but they're both about the same size. Both beautiful knives. And how do you justify going from, say, a Rough Rider, here's this is Queen, but it's made in the Rough Rider, going from something like this, which is about £30, then up to 60, and then up to about 150 odd. Is there a difference in that progression up? There definitely is. And a lot of it is feel. A lot of it is, I mean, this probably is the better blade steel of them all. If you like that sort of thing, D2 will last a bit longer when you're cutting. But this is an 01 tool steel, which I will take every day over D2. I love 01, one of my favourite steels for a pocket knife. So there's so much more work and detail in this that I love. I mean, this hand, look at the file work, is beautiful. How it fits in there, it's just absolutely perfection. But this is a custom knife. And to actually mention something, that's a £60 knife in the same breath as a custom knife, which if you were buying in lots of other countries would be nowhere near that price of 150. I think you could add probably 100 into that. But this at 60 odd pounds, is it value for money? Absolutely. I mean, you've seen it set against these other knives that all have their place. We have the cheaper versions of the Arthur Wright and the Taylor's Eyewitness. We have the Rough Rider Reserve, about the same price. And then we got GEC. The case, I would say, is going to be definitely more money than this, but that's Stag as well. So I'm not sure. It's not something that would bother me. What I'll do, I want to show you where I believe this fits in. I put it above the Rough Rider Reserve, although that's a fantastic knife. I think these have taken a step up, a move forward, if you like, than what the Rough Rider Reserve is. And I put it up around the case. It is very, very close. Very, very close to the case. That's where I put it. That's how highly I put it up there. And if I've got 20 case, that means I actually really like them. Do you know what I mean? I really do like them. And I understand they're made in America, also. I'm not talking about that as an argument. I don't want an argument about it. I'm just telling you how I feel where it sits. And this is very much up there. I don't know many other knives at £60 will look absolutely stunning like this. Have a walk and talk like this has. Listen to that. I mean, that's just beautiful. Solid into the half slot, no mush at all. It's solid there. It's no movement up or down. That is hard to do. That is hard to do and get it just beautiful like that. That takes a bit of time. And yeah, they use modern machinery. It's 2024. Of course they're using modern machinery. There's very few companies, like Arthur Wright and Taylor's Eyewitness that are around that are doing it the traditionally old-fashioned way, using old-fashioned machinery, tools. They use the whole lot, So there's very few companies like them left in the world that do that. So I can only put it up against something in its price range. And I believe that £60 is a perfect price range. I just think it is perfect. Or 64. I'm not sure. It's 60 something. But whatever it is, it's beautiful. And I would put it. It is just nip and tuck behind cases backside, I'm afraid. They're very, very close. And, whether you like Chinese knives, you don't like them, that's not what I'm here to argue about. It's just the product I've got in my hand. The product I have in my hand. That's the only way I, as a simple knife reviewer, will put knives up against it. I mean, it is better closing action than this. And I mean, that's a £150 knife. It's a better closing action than this. And then I come to my favourite, which it just doesn't beat. This does stand out way above this, in my opinion. But I mean, all these other ones that are down in this table all compare very favourably. Like GEC is my favourite pocket knife, probably, them all, except for, but that's a custom, I can't count that. And GEC is above all of these, and this should be up at the same level as GEC. But I mean, I've had a couple of them and they're not very nice on the opening. Some of them, you get a variation of them. They're still beautiful knives. It is a beautiful knife. So these are up with a lot of them. And in fact, just as a pure, if you take it on purely what they're putting into the blade, this equals any of them. We've had Stag now, which is about £89, I think it was over here, something like that. The Stag was beautiful. It was consistently good, which is very hard to do with Stag, especially in a production where you're making plenty of knives, to keep that standard up. Well, Rosecraft seem to have done it, because most of the reviews I've seen have been nothing but complimentary about it. So I think they've got a real home run for this. So whether you wanted to call it a jackknife or a Barlow, to me, I simply put it against my British Barlows. And there you go. There's a British Barlow. Oh, there's the British Barlow head. So it's a little bit bigger than the British Barlow. So I'm quite happy calling that a Barlow in my collection. But in fairness to Rosecraft, they call it a jackknife. Loosahatchie Jack. Fantastic knife. I hope you enjoyed seeing that mixture there, because it is sometimes just nice to see a mixture of knives thrown down there at different price ranges, and then you decide what you're willing to pay for. And that is it. And you can start at the very, this is the most basic of the lot. This is, in my opinion, this is better. This is an Arthur Wright compared to Taylor's Eyewitness basic. But they're both lovely Barlows. They're well put together. Construction's good. You can make them a little bit more fancy by getting this backspring done. I haven't on this one. I have others that I have done. But these are very basic knives. And here, this is the thing. This Rosecraft is not a very basic knife. It just isn't. It's a very, very well put together. And I don't have another option in anything that I've tried over these years to say that this is getting up there with Case. It really genuinely is. And the fact that they're using bone, they're using wood, they're using Stag. The jig bone is the next thing for me. Getting a nice jig bone would just elevate it even more up. It really would. It's the only thing that they're not doing that Case does. basically at the minute as far as handle materials, and Case do it very, very well. I mean, they're still there to be shot at, and there's still work to be done for Rosecraft. But this is a really young fledgling company. But they are working incredibly hard to get the standard of their knife up. And you can call me a shill from now to the next. I don't care. I really don't care. I do get these for free. But if it was crap, it wouldn't be on my channel. Or I would tell you there's something wrong with it. It's dead simple. I would tell you if there was something wrong with it. To me, top notch. I love this knife. And you've got the two different choices of wood, but the coloration in them can vary widely. And that's okay. That's what it is. One's a yellow sandalwood and the other is a red sandalwood. But wood has this funny habit of just playing little tricks on you sometimes. You don't always get the colour that it starts out thinking that it should be. But that's the name of the tree, so that's what you get. It's natural. And I love natural materials on a pocket knife. So there you go. Everybody's opinion. Everybody can have an opinion and a view, and they're all valid. But this is not for an argument. I'm not going into the chat to argue afterwards. This is just my opinion on where Rosecraft have come in such a short period of time. And that's down to details. They check all their details, they check all their knives, they check the fit and finish, and that makes a huge difference. That adds pounds to the price of this knife. That time it takes for an individual to check them. After they've already been checked and come from a factory, they come over to the US and then they're rechecked again. All that makes a huge difference. How many of us have said, oh, I've asked a certain company, would they do a check on the knives, and they don't do it? Rosecraft are doing that for you. Before you even get your knife, they're doing it. And if there was something wrong with it, it's a company you can rely on. And Andy, to me, is just the perfect front runner. He's the man of the minute, to be honest, in my eyes. Out of all knives, you know, even just, I mean, you've got Civivis and things like that. They put out amazing products, and nobody's griping too much about it. So these are the slip joint version of the ever popular Civivis. You know, they're that good. And look how short a space of time it's taken them to get there. That's phenomenal. So there you go. Paddy's away. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Oh God, it's another half-an-hour video. I'll get shouted at again. I don't care. I love chatting to you. Bye-bye now.